Hello, everybody. This is KSPB, and I'm here with Margaret Weston, the previous owner of the Weston Gallery in Carmel. So let's get started. First off, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, and your career?
Well, I was born in England, and during the Second World War, I was sent to South Africa as a child. While I was in South Africa, I became an entertainer, a singer, and eventually went to England and was a performer there. I did radio and TV and that as well. And because I was in England and doing shows, I was picked up by the William Morris office and brought to this country.
Oh.
And so my first singing in this country was in New York.
Nice. So next up, what is this kind of story behind the creation of the Weston Gallery?
Well, through Cole Weston, to whom I was married for a long time, and many years, I met Ansel Adams, and who was a photographer of renown at the time. And Ansel thought that after I was divorced, Ansel thought that it would be a good idea if I opened a photographic gallery, because I'd been very, very interested in it and had learned a lot from Cole and from various photographers in the business, and enjoyed it immensely. So it was Ansel really who gave me the idea of opening the gallery, the Weston Gallery.
Nice. And then I guess you kind of already talked about it, but maybe go a little deeper into kind of what inspired you to collect art.
Oh, to collect art? Well, at that point, I hadn't collected, but I loved the photographs and photography, and of course, you know that Edward Weston was a great photographer. So I learned a lot about photography, and it was, I really didn't want to go back down to Los Angeles because I had a son at the time, Matthew, and I decided that it would be better if I stayed and opened a business of my own and tried to become successful at whatever I was doing.
All right, so next question is, how was the transformation from singing to photography for you? Were there any challenges, or how did that overlap?
It overlapped a little, but not, I'd been singing a long time, and the photography was like a new, wonderful adventure for me to start. So I sort of threw myself into it completely, and because of Ansel and his connections helped me a great deal. And then I started to travel and go first to New York, to the various museums, and talk to people and try and sell them what I had, and it sort of went on from there, because
you just kind of leapt into it almost.
Yes,
right in.
Yes.
All right, and then that takes us to, how did the art that you collected and sold change over time? How did kind of different artists brought in, or how did that work?
Yes, well, I started with Ansel, because he was the first one to give me a show of his work, and from that I sold out the show. It was wonderful. I mean, with the great crowds and police and all of that at the gallery, and that show almost completely sold out. And with that money, I was able to start really looking around and being able to maybe have the wherewithal to start collecting, or to start putting really good pieces into the gallery. And that happened because I was able to go to New York and to the auctions in New York. The photographic auctions were on then. It was just starting. It was a wonderful time, very exciting. And I was able to buy a lot of things, and from the auctions in New York, I went to auctions in London and then Paris, and met a lot of wonderful people, other dealers and so on, and so it sort of expanded itself, the collection.
Right. And then finally, were there any kind of challenges or hard parts about running the gallery and traveling everywhere?
Yes, it was. Well, it was challenging. I had a child that I needed to look to and be a part of, and I was, I would try not to be gone longer than, say, a month at the most. But most of the time, it was just a week or 10 days, and then I would come back and so on. So it was a challenge because Matthew was in school at the time. What was challenging about it was really the traveling, having to travel and then fit it in and be able to come back and still take care of Matthew and what had to be done here. But that it was challenging and a wonderful way to make a living, and I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, it was worth the challenge.
Yes,
and the hard work.
Yes, and the hard work.
Yeah,
It
perfect.
certainly was.
Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me interview you, and this has
It's a
been
pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
So this has been Margaret Weston, the owner of the Weston Gallery, and we will see you next time on KSPB.